Welcome and thank you for joining us for a deep dive on sustainability. First, let me introduce you to our panel of experts that you'll be hearing from today. Dominic Blakemore, Shelley Roberts, Amy Keister, Carolyn Ball, and Ryan Holmes. We also have the pleasure of hearing from Julia Collins, founder and CEO of Planet Forward, who help us calculate our carbon footprint according to the latest standards. To begin, here's Dominic Blakemore, our Group Chief Executive.
Hello everyone. Today you'll hear about the progress we're making in sustainability and how our focus in this area contributes tangible commercial benefit. Sustainability isn't new to us. It's deeply ingrained in our culture, central to the way we conduct business and intrinsic to our success. You'll see how it's embedded in our management and performance framework, driving every dimension of our global business. For example, we know sustainability is a competitive advantage that helps us win new business, both from first-time outsourcers and from other larger and regional players. We're continuously evolving our offer to remain relevant and to serve our consumers what they want, whilst offering insights on the environmental impacts of certain foods. We also recognise that health and well-being often go hand in hand with sustainability. As a result, we're combining thought leadership, culinary expertise, and technology to achieve our goals. This is highly valued by our clients, for whom we are a trusted advisor in this area, creating mutually beneficial long-term partnerships. One priority for us is to reduce food waste. Over 6 years ago, we started a movement to ignite change around food waste, which has since become a global phenomenon. Reducing food waste is not only good for the planet, but also good for business. Tracking and reporting of waste helps us to be more efficient in our operations, helping reduce costs and mitigate inflation. There's not one single solution to our shared challenge, and we need everyone to do their part. Our people are making lots of incremental changes across thousands of units and sharing these best practices around our group. I'm confident that our commitment and thought leadership is inspiring our clients, consumers, employees and suppliers to help find collective solutions and accelerate delivery to reach our climate net zero target by 2050. With that, I'll hand back to Agatha.
Thank you, Dominic. To start, it's worth reminding you about the significant growth potential of our industry. Currently, the food services market is estimated to be at least $300 billion, half of which is still managed in-house, representing a huge opportunity for Compass. According to recent studies, Gen Z and millennials make up approximately 40% of the global workforce, and this is set to rise to about 60% by 2030. So why does this matter? These generations are the most vocal about the impact of climate change and are looking for food options that are healthier for them and the planet. As they reduce their reliance on animal proteins, they are increasing their consumption of plant-forward meals and are also advocating for local sourcing. They are our consumers today and the decision makers of tomorrow. It's important to note that regardless of the generation, not all consumers want the same. And as Dominic said earlier, we must always provide our consumers with a wide range of food choices. Where we can add value is by giving consumers the insights and information to make their own decisions. To reach our ambitious goal, we need to form partnerships on many different levels. One of those, of course, is with our suppliers. Recently, we held a first-of-its-kind roundtable with 8 of our top suppliers to encourage future-forward thinking on reducing emissions. We asked them to be bold in their thinking and to utilize a diverse client and consumer base as a safe trial ground to test new concepts and packaging. We are also supporting local and diverse suppliers. In the US, nearly 40% of all produce and dairy is sourced from local producers. Nurturing these suppliers and giving them access to our scale enables them to invest back in their own operations for the longer term. For us, this is much more than a compliance exercise. It's a passion. Nothing encapsulates this more than Bon Appetit Management Company. Our journey together began over 20 years ago with the acquisition of Bon Appetit, a dedicated pioneer of sustainability. The founders, who still lead the business today, believed in the farm-to-fork model of locally sourced, restaurant-quality food, cooked from scratch and also using seasonal ingredients. And in the 90s, the company began connecting directly with the local suppliers. And over the years, they started to address other issues in the food system, such as sourcing sustainable seafood and the use of antibiotics in food production. Today, their proposition of food service for a sustainable future continues to resonate very strongly with clients and consumers. It's been hugely successful commercially. Since we acquired Bon Appetit, its revenues have increased tenfold to more than $1.5 billion. This business is a perfect example of how innovation and sustainability can lead to commercial success. This underpins our confidence in setting industry-leading standards and ambitions, as Amy will now explain.
Thank you, Agatha. Compass was the first in our sector to publish a worldwide commitment to reach climate net zero by 2050 and be carbon neutral on Scope 1 and 2 greenhouse gas emissions by 2030. Our goals align with science-based target criteria outlined by the Paris Climate Agreement, which seeks to prevent global warming above 1.5 degrees Celsius. The commitment is bold where we have direct impact and reasonable where we depend on others. To help us, we partnered with Planet Forward, the leading climate management platform for consumer companies. Planet Forward provides the tools to understand and reduce our carbon footprint and mitigate the worst effects of climate change. Our initial focus is to decarbonize our own operations. This is where we can make the most immediate and material impact. To break it down, Scope 1 and 2 are emissions within our control. These deal directly with our company cars and delivery fleet emissions, and the emissions attributed to the energy used in the buildings we own. We've reduced our Scope 1 and 2 emissions by 16% compared to our 2019 baseline by utilizing renewable energy in the United Kingdom and France. In the US, Canteen launched the first carbon neutral vending branch. 98% of our emissions sit under Scope 3 and are related to the products we purchase. Although these emissions are not entirely within our control, we can influence change through menu choices, reducing food waste, or by working with suppliers to contribute to reductions. We have improved our methodology to measure emissions on a volume basis rather than spend, which is a more accurate reflection of our Scope 3 emissions. Our most recent data shows an approximate 30% reduction in our Scope 3 emissions for purchased goods compared to our 2019 baseline. As we continue to decarbonize, we focus on areas with the greatest impact. Firstly, reducing food waste, which has the dual benefit of being good for the environment while also reducing costs. Secondly, menu reformulation, creating delicious meals with more plant-based proteins that our customers want. And lastly, by partnering with our suppliers to decarbonize throughout the food chain. Let's now hear from one of our climate consultants, Planet Forward, about how we leverage their life cycle analysis database, providing insights into our emissions. Julia Collins is the founder and CEO of Planet Forward. Julia was also the co-founder of Zoom Pizza, and she became the first Black woman unicorn when she created a venture-backed tech company valued at over $1 billion. In addition to leading Planet Forward, Julia sits on the Climate Collaborative Board, the Food for Climate League Board, and the Advisory Council for Launch with Goldman Sachs.
Hi, I'm Julia Collins, the founder and CEO of Planet Forward. At Planet Forward, we're advising companies like Compass on how to decarbonize, through the process of measuring and reducing greenhouse gas emissions. Our Scope 3 emissions modeling capabilities allow Planet Forward to provide granular insights on supply chain emissions all the way down to the farm level. These insights can support Compass in making actionable steps toward its climate goals. Our science-based approach is aligned with the highest global standards, and in fact, more than a third of our team are climate experts and scientists. We've worked with Compass teams in the US, the UK, Australia, and France to move from spend-based carbon accounting to volume-based accounting, allowing us to surface a much clearer picture of supply chain emissions as well as identify hotspots. To date, we've identified the highest impact opportunities to reduce emissions as well as to improve accounting. These include moving from high to lower emissions food products, including reducing food miles, improving the quality of data in the supply chain to provide a better understanding of source location, agricultural production, and processing practices. And of course, continuing to focus on waste reduction by improving and providing more options for waste diversion. We are so excited to support Compass as the most admired food service business as they continue to grow. Thanks to the entire Compass team for showing such strong leadership on this issue, backed by measurable and concrete actions.
Now let's focus on how sustainability helps drive business performance at Compass through our MAP framework. Over to you, Shelley.
Thanks, Amy. Let me start with how sustainability is a key commercial growth driver that's positively impacting MAP 1, which is our client sales and marketing. There's no doubt that increasing awareness of climate change is a contributing factor to driving more companies to outsource their food and services. Our leadership in sustainability is giving us 3 clear competitive advantages. Firstly, clients are seeking support from us to reach their own climate targets, as we're part of their Scope 3 emissions. By decarbonising our menus, reducing food waste in partnership with our clients, we reduce our footprint as well as theirs. So we're increasingly advising our C-suite clients on how we can provide measurable support to deliver their sustainability goals. In fact, this breadth and capability has become a right of entry in many tenders across our sectors. One example is a global tender that we're currently working on, which, beyond the obvious initiatives of food waste and packaging, we're helping them to reduce water usage and influence behaviours through education. Secondly, clients need to see auditable evidence of this decarbonisation progress. To do it on their own would require them to invest significantly in systems, linking supply chain data to consumption and transaction data. It's complex and expensive, and they can't justify this level of investment. The ESG regulation landscape is changing rapidly, and our clients are faced with increased disclosure requirements. We can help them by providing them with auditable data and enhanced reporting, which are difficult for the self-operators and smaller players to produce. We've got a strong digital strategy to develop operational tools to track progress. Here's an example from a unit in Australia. The same digital approach has led to a recent win in France, where we're measuring the carbon footprint across a large education client. To further reduce carbon, we're substituting some animal proteins with certified sustainable alternatives, sourcing local produce, and using electric vehicles and recovering 100% of our bio-waste. The third competitive advantage is this. Our end consumers want more transparency to help them make better informed decisions that support their health and sustainability outcomes. Compass is developing the insight and the data to help them make these decisions more easily. To achieve this, we're deploying a suite of tools across geographies based on rich consumer feedback. We recently surveyed 35,000 workers across 26 countries to understand their workplace preferences, which included their motivations around sustainability. I'm going to come back to this later on. So the combination of these three differentiators is helping us to win business. Our first-time outsourcing run rate is the best it's ever been at 41% of new business across EME, APAC, and LATAM, moving closer to the level we achieve in North America. Our initiatives and our tailored client approach to sustainability are converting into new business wins and creating a closer alignment with our clients. For example, all of our global clients have cited that our sustainability efforts formed part of their decision-making criteria when awarding us their contracts. Similarly, in the UK, 80% of new business wins in the last 12 to 18 months asked for evidence that we are measuring our emissions. And in Australia, nearly 50% of the decision-making in recent bids has included sustainability credentials. Finally, in the US, sustainability is growing in importance for clients in all lines of business, and it's a crucial contributor to our incredible growth and retention. So back to you, Amy.
We are thinking big and scaling fast, which is incredibly exciting. That energy inspires our team and encourages more clients to move in the same direction. And we are working to accelerate the development of climate-friendly solutions, recognizing the growing importance of interconnected environmental indicators, such as water and biodiversity in the context of global health and nutrition. To facilitate this, we have started utilizing SEDEX, a platform to assess and drive ethical and responsible sourcing practices in our supply chain. The platform is a combination of supplier self-assessment questionnaires, third-party audits, and industry-specific risk research. This data offers insights into supply chain risks, including biodiversity, at both the country of origin and site-specific levels, which we leverage to inform our risk ranking.
Let's now think about Map 2, our consumer sales. As I mentioned before, to better understand our consumers and their motivations, we commissioned Mintel to conduct a global survey to learn about trends in the workplace. The findings showed that providing a sustainable food offer at work was paramount. Over 70% of workers expected employers to proactively promote sustainability in their workplace. And it's the younger generations who are demanding planet-friendly options, with 63% of Gen Z workers advocating for more plant-based options. They're a growing part of our client and consumer base, and so we're already adapting our offer to meet their needs. Here's Carolyn and Ryan with some examples of how we're responding.
Thanks, Shelley. The quality of our data is becoming increasingly important. We know the analytical insight it provides and how well we use it informs better decision-making for the benefit of the business and everyone we're seeking to serve. But it also gives our operators the opportunity to inspire clients and their customers with stories that have real substance. And it is real substance that all our stakeholders rightly want. A great example is the Billie Eilish concert we catered for last year at the O2 Arena in London. Levy, our sports and leisure brand, developed a fully plant-based, carbon footprinted menu. Food sales were up 8% against a standard event day, showing clear alignment with the preferences of the audience and inspiring confidence in partnerships with our other clients. The O2 contract has since been renewed, and the ability to evidence measurable sustainability impacts for the benefit of the client and all their customers was a key part of the decision. To their great credit, and in support of our focus on net new growth, Levy UK is not only winning new business, they also maintained their 100% client retention rate last year, again showing strong alignment with their growing client base.
To educate and influence consumer behaviour, we use a number of initiatives in the kitchen and in our communications. In the UK, our business and industry sector partnered with the University of Oxford. We use their eco-labelling and insights to measure the environmental impact of our meals that we serve across hundreds of workplace restaurants. We're the first contract caterer to do this, and it provided a springboard for wider analysis of provenance across the UK and Ireland. It's made us think more deeply about how we approach sustainability within the workplace, using techniques such as menu language and positioning in order to nudge consumers into making better and more informed choices, not just ticking a box. In the US, our Chartwell's higher education business helps consumers make choices which are aligned with their environmental and social impact values, which we know is important to Gen Z. This includes using climate labelling nationwide, developing plant-forward education events and dining spaces, and providing students with sustainability internship opportunities. Our culinarians continuously develop dishes that are even more healthy, sustainable and inclusive, and also delicious, with no compromises on flavour. We are now rolling this approach out across the Compass Group. Turning now to how sustainability can help manage costs, here's Amy.
Let's discuss food waste for a moment. As well as developing delicious and nutritious dishes, the more our chefs are able to manage food waste, the better we're able to control food costs. We call this MAP 3, which accounts for about 30% of in-unit costs. Studies suggest that if the world's food waste was a country, it'd be the third largest emitter of greenhouse gases. We've been raising awareness of this issue for the past 7 years through our Stop Food Waste Day campaign. Our ambition is to share practical tools which will help to change behavior in a way that will prevent waste. This includes changing how meals are planned, inspiring others to waste less, sharing skills, and finally, repurposing food by redistributing it to the local community. Launched by us in 2017, Stop Food Waste Day has become the largest single day of action in the fight against food waste, reaching over 90 million people this year, and is endorsed by the leading NGO, ReFed.
Chefs play an essential role in preventing waste. We are creative and obsessed with food. Our challenge is to find ways to transform waste, byproducts and leftovers into exciting and innovative and delicious dishes. One example of how we are leading the way here is the Rule of 5, created by our Morrison's healthcare sector in the US. Before an ingredient touches our kitchens, we incorporate that item into a minimum of 5 dishes across all day parts of our food offer. Why 5? Because by using the ingredient in 5 different ways, we are not having to throw anything away. It pushes us to think about how that product can be used for breakfast, lunch, dinner and hospitality. The Rule of 5 has been so successful across 3,800 kitchens that we are now adapting it to be rolled out globally.
We use different tools to measure waste. One of them is our proprietary digital waste tool, WasteNot 2.0, which was built by chefs for chefs. This tool helps identify opportunities to reduce food waste and gives managers the ability to analyze data and find long-lasting solutions. We have scaled up our food waste technology across the group to over 8,000 kitchens, representing our most material sites. As a result of these actions, last year we saw a 30% reduction in food waste, and we're linking the management incentives to the rollout of waste measurement tools.
Digital tools also help us to reduce waste through a demand-led model such as pre-order or cook-to-order. Our proprietary tools can help us reduce or remove waste significantly by improving procurement accuracy and making it even more convenient for the consumer.
Since announcing our commitment to reach climate net zero by 2030 in the UK and Ireland, we have been focusing on 3 key decarbonisation levers. These are our ingredients, our supply chain, and our sales mix. It is the data quality and insight in each of these levers that will continue to grow our competitive advantage, providing evidence of measurable progress in the material impact areas you've heard referenced by us all. Strong partnerships with industry experts further add to the credibility and to the value this work represents to our clients, and it continues to grow the knowledge of our teams as they work across their different disciplines. Examples include the counsel and guidance of Professor Sir Charles Godfrey, projects with the University of Oxford, and a strategic partnership with UK tech company Foodsteps to accelerate the decarbonisation of the 180 million meals we serve across over 4,000 locations every year. This partnership is a huge step forward in our ability to measure, reduce, and to report our environmental impacts from farm to fork with increasingly greater accuracy. There's much work still to do, but the combination of pragmatism, clear prioritisation, and our intentional partnerships is helping to inform and to empower the business, those we work with, and all those we exist to serve together.
Compass is a decentralized business. This means that leveraging best practice is an essential part of how we evolve our commercial offer to maintain our competitive advantage globally. Everyone has to play a part. Here's an example of how our chefs create change.
It's all about harnessing culinary skills to positively influence environmental outcomes. This is central to our board-sponsored Global Culinary Forum, which shares learnings through chefs across the world. One of these initiatives is getting even closer to our procurement colleagues to source fresh, local, seasoned ingredients that are better for the environment and equally delicious. And we're reducing carbon by creating delicious recipes with a plant-forward focus, using proteins such as lentils, pulses or beans. Let me give you an example. We created a 50-50 burger which uses British wild mushrooms directly from our supplier in Leicestershire, which normally would have been wasted. Not only does it taste delicious, but it significantly cuts emissions with 50% less animal protein. It was recently featured on BBC News as part of our work with the University of Oxford. By applying our customer insights, we can make a big difference. For example, we know that by listing planet-friendly options at the top of menus, the uptake improves. And we've deliberately moved away from labelling dishes as vegetarian or vegan, again, to increase the uptake. But this isn't about removing meat altogether. It's about reducing our reliance on animal proteins. We are very aware of consumer preference in all of this. A good example of increasing the plant content is in our UK defence, offshore and remote sector, which serves over 12 million meals to service personnel. By including more vegetables, we've reduced our reliance on meat, and as of May this year, 38% of meals in defence were plant-forward. And in business and industry, we're using 40% less meat across the top 12 selling dishes.
The combination of plant-based meals, food waste reduction, and smart purchasing is creating a powerful, virtuous circle of environmental benefits. With heightened inflation, we've also used many of these initiatives to mitigate rising costs for our clients and consumers. So as you've seen, our approach to sustainability, particularly around the operational changes, not only reduces our carbon footprint, but also contributes to the success of our business through supporting our clients to achieve their goals. It's unlocking new business wins, and it's building closer client alignment to support long-term retention. Increasingly, the self-operated and smaller player market is valuing the economies of scale that we can bring to support their investment in sustainability and decarbonisation of their supply chain. This is creating an enduring competitive advantage for Compass. Our chefs are instrumental in making environmentally friendly choices that also resonate with our consumers. We educate, we nudge consumers to make better choices. Food waste reduction efforts and planet-friendly menus are two areas which will continue to be our primary focus. As you've heard, we've made good progress to date with a reduction in our Scope 3 emissions for purchased goods by 30% compared to our 2019 baseline. And as we work with our suppliers to decarbonise, we'll encourage them to think differently. The scale of our operations gives them access to a large customer base to justify their investment in innovation. And finally, we'll continue to engage with a wider range of stakeholders, within our ecosystem to lead the industry and bring the best advice and solutions to our clients and consumers.
Thank you, Dominic, Shelley, Amy, Carolyn, and Ryan. And special thanks to Julia for sharing their thoughts with us today.